A Labour Party MP resigns after a police interrogation. Another story about how a European rapporteur has deemed Malta's Whistleblower Act not fit for purpose. And all about a Maltese comedian's anniversary post leading to a wife's identity mix-up. All this and more on today's episode of Lovin Daily. Hello and good evening, Malta and Gozo. I'm Julian Bonnici. Joining me today is Jonathan Sheila. It's another episode of Lovin Daily. Super exciting as always, but there's nowhere else to start besides the story surrounding Silvio Grishti, a Labour MP. John, tell us all about it.
Big story of the day to start off the week on the right note, I'd say. Silvio Grishti, the now former Labour MP, has resigned today over suspicions that he signed fraudulent sick notes and other medical doctors in his capacity as a doctor. So he's actually resigned today. So this is something that we're not very used to seeing. Oftentimes there's allegations and then weeks or months of non-action and lots of discourse. He's actually resigned, and from our understanding, it's because Prime Minister Robert Abela actually spoke to him and demanded his resignation. So quite a monumental step for the Labour Party. Obviously, the PN, the Nationalist Party have reacted to this. They slammed the government, saying that this is proof that, quote, the net of criminality that surrounds the current administration is, quote, collapsing, and that their government is no longer tenable. Bernard Gregg himself said, listen, Robert Abela's government is in a state of total collapse, and the government is leading to irreparable damage to the country's name when we should be fighting the pandemic and focusing forces on that. This is quite interesting. There were lots of reactions online, but I think what's important to remember is two things here. One, that a PN MP, Stephen Spiteri, also a doctor, had faced similar accusations in the last few years. Now, we don't know exactly what Silvio Grishti is being accused of, so I'm sure we'll find out in the next coming days and weeks, but very, very similar to the Spiteri case. And beyond that, as Bernard Gregg rightly pointed out, this is not the only controversy that a Labour MP has faced recently. We've had recent controversies over Education Minister Justine Caruana, as well as MP Ian Castaldi-Paris.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. For those who don't know Silvio Grishti out there, he's a little known backbencher who was elected for the first time in 2017 and gets elected of the 3rd district. But yeah, really shocking news to see him resign like that. We don't know the details of the specifics of the case just yet. It's only starting to come out, but I'm sure we'll find out more over the next few days. As John said, I think, look, it's a really positive move, from Prime Minister Robert Abela to demand someone's resignation from Parliament, and that person sort of accepted it. However, as we've seen in the last year or so, there are many MPs, many sitting ministers who have sort of escaped all punishment. As John alluded to, there's Education Minister Justine Caruana, who handed out a real cushy direct order to her boyfriend Daniel Bogdanovic. She still remains in cabinet. There's Edward Zammit-Lewis, Malta's Justice Minister, who has some really crazy, unsavory links to Jorgen Fenech. He still remains as a minister. Then there's Rosian Cutajar, who, while resigning as an MP, as a minister, still remains a Labour Party MP. Carmela Abela, Conrad Mitzi, the list really goes on and on. Hopefully, it starts the beginning of a process for Robert Abela to start taking action against all these people ahead of the general election. On to our next story, another Labour Party MP really in hot water, Ian Castaldi-Paris. It's been revealed that he's going to have to pay a 300,000 bill to tax authorities over unpaid dues. Now, a really complex story that's been actually going on for quite a few months now. Castaldi-Paris has been subject to a tax investigation over money he did not pay them. Now, obviously, we found that he's going to have to pay 300,000 euros for it. Now, very interestingly as well, some action being taken over here. Ian Castaldi-Paris has actually announced that he's not going to contest in the general election. Literally, he announced that a few hours after this story came out. Very different to Grishti in the sense that he's still going to remain an MP until then. And really and truly, we really don't know who's going to contest on the general elections until the list is out. So, for those of you who don't know a little bit about this story, it was all kicked off by the Times of Malta, so really good work over there. Basically, it's all got to do with a lot of unpaid taxes, which Ian Castaldi says was mostly during his time as an MP. That's why he didn't pay them. However, sources have said that the MP's unexplained wealth totaled to something like 1 million euros. So a real lot of concerns, a real lot of red flags over there. But yeah, once again, good to see hey, some MPs out there actually, following good governance and taking responsibility for their actions.
The idea that a public servant, such as a politician, would have so much money in unpaid taxes when he's supposed to be serving the public is quite crazy. So I'm very happy that, there's action here. For what it's worth, Kastali Paris took to social media today and he said, quote, he will continue to represent his constituents for the next few months. He will not be contesting the next election and he will be, quote, taking a step back from public life. Moving on to the next story, Malta's new whistleblower protection law might actually not be fit for purpose, according to the Council of Europe rapporteur on Malta's rule of law, Peter Omzik. Now, obviously, Peter Omzik has been speaking for years now, actually, about good governance and rule of law discrepancies in Malta, and now he's looking at the Whistleblower Act, which obviously is put in place to protect anyone, be it in government, be it in a company, in any organization type structure, who feels that they're seeing abuse or criminality and they want to speak out about it to possibly lead to an investigation. As it stands, we have a law that's been in place since 2013, but it might not be effective in protecting these people. According to Omzik, he said, quote, the law we have does not provide the necessary guarantees of independence as well as the absence of conflict of interest in Malta. Now, obviously, we live on an island, everyone knows everyone in Malta, so conflict of interest is a serious issue. But beyond that, quote, barriers in access to organizational leaders, as well as a loophole that puts the proof of burden on the whistleblower, might actually be causing it to be even more complicated and more difficult for a whistleblower to, step out, go public, and go against the government or an organization that they were part of. You have to understand, becoming a whistleblower is not an easy thing to do, to go against people respect, you might be close to in a very public manner like this that might even lead to criminal sanctions is not easy. In Malta over the last few years, we've had a couple of whistleblowers, Maria Efemova most famously, as well as Jonathan Ferris. Let's not forget Maria Efemova had to flee the country out of safety concerns. So maybe it is time for Malta to look at our whistleblower law and see if it is in effect.
Yeah, no, so this was the worrying thing, right, all about it, right, that the whistleblower law wasn't working at all. They actually said they've been actually pressured for years to change it. They changed it, but it happened over a month, super rapid through, and the changes simply aren't good enough. For those of you who are wondering out there why this whistleblower protection is so important, really look at the stories we're covering today, look at the stories we cover every day. It's absolutely vital that public servants and private employees have an avenue to, report any criminality and not face legal repercussions for doing it. The one thing a whistleblower doesn't need is threat of going to prison for it. I mean, we all moan about our whistleblowers, but look at whistleblowers abroad that happened to them, people like Edward Snowden,
Julian
Assange, the list goes on and on, how much whistleblowers need to be protected from everyone and anyone. So let us know what you think about it in the comments below. On to our next story, all about Malta's landmark cannabis bill yet again. So as you've seen, as I've seen in the days leading up and the days leading up and the days after the bill was passed and approved, there's loads of misconceptions currently going out on the internet on cannabis laws, which some might say, is a bit of scaremongering or misinformation just coming out from literally all corners. Now, one senior nurse practicing at Mount Carmel, who actually was the president of Malta's Association for Psychiatric Nurses for roughly a decade and is still a council member this day, addressed his thoughts on these issues online. Now, he covered a lot of different subjects, from teenagers are going to start trying out cannabis, to children are going to be able to purchase it, everyone was going to start growing weed like it's absolutely nothing, the weed's going to be a gateway drug, people are going to show up to work high and stoned, all these crazy sort of concepts, from, in truth, people who actually haven't read the bill properly. Now, a lot of these things are addressed on the post, you can read on Lovin Malta, but you can also read Lovin Malta articles covering the law, how anyone under 18 can't smoke cannabis, how you can't smoke cannabis in front of children. And listen, out there, growing cannabis is not an easy feat. I mean, everybody's out there trying. I mean, I've tried growing tomatoes and really basic stuff that are meant to grow in Malta supernaturally, and it's completely impossible. So can you imagine such a delicate plant like that? What's important to note is the misconceptions aren't coming, let's say, from the anti-cannabis side, but even from the pro. A lot of people I speak to out there who are pro-cannabis really have no idea, what their rights are, what they need to do. So please go online, go on Lovin Malta or on any news platform you choose, just to know your rights and know what's happening moving forward.
I think it's important that someone who's in a position of authority, who's been involved in, Mount Carmel work, who's been involved in psychiatry for over a decade, his voice does hold a lot of weight, so it is important to hear from these people. What I'm seeing online is a lot of people who have no background in cannabis, have no background in psychiatry, spewing off things that they've heard online, spewing off, outdated misconceptions, gateway drug, and so many other things. So it is very important that you do read the bill that's actually going to come into law, so you understand what we're not doing exactly. And also, just read more. Don't just take what you see on Facebook as fact or as gospel. Do your own research, and definitely listen to, people who have been in the business and doing this for years. Moving on to the final story, I think quite a funny story. I don't know if you caught this. A little bit of a mix-up that might have led to a bit of marital strife. A very popular Maltese comedian, Daniel Kirkhope, who's one half of Danu San, the popular comedic pair that you might see on stage or on TV. He had actually, posted a tribute to his wife Fiorella. They've been together for about 10 years. They have 3 kids, and he just posted a photo embracing her, and he just wanted to, send tribute to his wife, who's been so supportive over the years. A lot of people were praising this, and one journal actually, did a report on this, talking about it and praising it as well. The thing is, they chose the wrong image. They chose the image of him embracing one of his employees. This led Kirkhope, to come online and say, quote, amazing. After 13 years of marriage, they're going to make me fight with my wife because they posted a photo of me with one of my employees. As divisive as this might have been for Daniel and his wife Fiorella, people were having the time of their lives online. We had everyone from Valentino Rossi to all other types of celebs, Henry Gallia, in the comment section, laughing it off. People really had fun with this. Someone said, "Shame on you, Daniel," quote. Fiorella, we are here for you. Other people were like, "Thank God you're a comedian with a sense of humor," because other people might have taken this really personally. At the end of the day, the report was amended, the image was fixed, and Kirkhope, kind of just ended by saying, thanks for all the laughs and the support. My favorite part of this was the woman, the employee that was dragged into it. She posted online saying, guys, quote, "Thank God that you posted this. I had no idea. I've been married for 10 years and had 3 kids. So, it just goes to show that in the age of social media and everything being online, do double check that you are using the right images and you are tagging the right people.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. And, I think it's a little bit of a lesson sometimes to just laugh at yourself. Sometimes these mistakes happen on social media. It's sometimes just to happen in a bit of jest, laugh it off, And I think, sometimes we're all better fools when we laugh at ourselves. Now, that's it for us for today. But please check out the next trailer that we have on. It's A Dose of Red Nose. It's Lovin Malta's new documentary exploring the NGO Dr. Clown and all the amazing work they do. Seriously, it's such an incredible watch. Make sure to go on Lovin Malta, watch it, like it, share it, show all your friends. It's a really amazing NGO that we should all get behind, particularly around Christmas. And that's it from me and John for tonight, and always have an evening full of lovin'.
I love them. I miss them. Since COVID happened, they've not been so present in the world.
Number one rule is if we promise them that we're going, we're going. Because you never promise a child something and take it away from them.
The children here are passing through difficult times. They're in hospital because they're unwell.
Clown doctors are people from all walks of life.
I work on one very clear, ridiculous, fairy assumption. If the child is no longer in hospital, they went home.
I can see a parade at the moment of the children that I have clowned with.
Seeing that child running in the corridors of the hospital, laughing her head off, that's fantastic.
But the clowns?
There's nothing better in the world than laughing.
Just as important as the medication prescribed by the real doctors.
Thank you, Dr. Clown, so much. I hope you stay in the hospital till the world ends. Literally, you are the best team ever. And you know what they say, laughter is the best medicine.